What's up, YouTube? Team Movies here. Since Kevin Costner is voicing a dog in the new film The Art of Racing in the Rain, I decided to do my top 10 favorite Kevin Costner movies. Because the guy has been doing interesting movies for like a good amount of decades. I mean, he's pretty much an iconic actor. He's been in some really interesting films, and he's also on that show Yellowstone, which he's really good at, by the way. So, with that being said, here's my 10 favorite Kevin Costner movies. Coming in at number 10 is going to be a baseball film called Tin Cup. Oh no, not baseball, a golf film. My bad. He's done so many sport movies, by the way. But in the film Tin Cup, Kevin Costner plays this. He plays this golf pro who has like a bright future and it's like a rebellious nature and has like bad attitude that costs him everything, And so he ends up falling for this doctor named Molly Griswold, played by Renee Russo, and she's pretty much like a psychiatrist who happens to be the girlfriend of a PGA star and Roy's rival, David Sims, played by Don Johnson. And so he decides to try have a run at the PGA Tour to win her heart and all. It's a really interesting golf film. I mean, Kevin Costner and Renee Russo both had really cool chemistry. I mean, just think of it. This features Clark Kent's dad and Dawn's mom. Just think about that for a moment. But yeah, Tin Cup is it's a romance film. It's a golf film. I mean, it's a pretty interesting, cute, romance film and all. And Kevin Costner, he's pretty popular with sport movies, and Tin Cup is definitely one of them. And if you guys haven't seen Tin Cup, it's a pretty decent one. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Wyatt Earp. Now, Kevin Costner plays the character of Wyatt Earp, who's pretty much like a gunslinger. It's pretty much about the gunslinger's life, who also has whose brother is Doc Holliday, played by Dennis Quaid. And you got other outlaws you got Bat Masterson, played by Tom Sizemore. His brother Ed, played by Bill Pullman. And Dennis, like Dennis Quaid, I thought was a really good Doc Holliday. I thought he was pretty cool at that role. Kevin Costner as Wyatt Earp was cool. I mean, this is a really interesting Western film, and I mean, it actually got released the same year as Tombstone, believe it or not. So yeah, that year we had two Wyatt Earp based movies that got released. And yeah, Wyatt Earp is a really interesting Western. It's a cool gunslinger film. Kevin Costner, I just thought he was a great Wyatt Earp. He played that role really well. And yeah, Wyatt Earp is a pretty... Alright, coming in at number 8 is going to The Upside of Anger. Now, this is where this woman named Terry Whitmire, played by Joan Allen, is pretty much left to fend for herself after her husband ends up leaving her. And she pretty much becomes a caregiver of and she becomes the caregiver of four daughters, played by the daughters are of course played by Kerry Russell, Evan Richard Wood, Erica Christina and Alicia Wood, and she also becomes fascinated with this pretty much this former baseball player named Danny, who's like her next door neighbor, and he's of course played by Costner. And she ends up, pretty much smitten with him, and yeah, it's a really interesting movie. Like it's directed by Mike Bender, who did Reign Over Me, and he also directed Costner in another movie called Black and White. The Upside of Anger is a pretty interesting little film. It's really funny. It has like lots of emotionals. It's a movie about parenthood and a movie about relationships, and I really quite enjoy this. And I think it's actually one of Kaz's most underrated and most underappreciated films. And if you guys haven't seen The Upside of Anger yet, it's a really decent little film. All right. Coming in at number 7 is going to No Way Out. Now this stars Kevin Costner as a lieutenant named Tom Farrell, who meets like a young woman named Susan Atwell, played by Sean Young, and they pretty much share like a passionate fling. And you also have Defense Secretary David Bryce, played by Gene Hackman, who's also romantically involved with Atwell. And so, like, the young woman ends up turning up dead, and Farrell ends up being put in charge of the murder. So he pretty much begins like trying to cover shocking clues about the case, and I mean Sean Young, like she was good looking back in the days. Like she looked great in this film, and like her romance chemistry with Kevin Costner was decent. It was a cool murder mystery film. It was like a mystery movie period. It's a really decent little film, and if you guys haven't seen No Way Out yet, go check it out. It's pretty good. Coming in at number 6 is going to 13 Days. Now, Kevin Costner plays the character of Kenneth Patrick O'Donnell, who was like pretty much like the secretary to John F. Kennedy until like his assassination in 1963. And the film takes place in October 1962, and where like YouTube surveillance photos reveal that the Soviet Union is like in the process of placing nuclear weapons in Cuba, and so like these weapons have like the capability of wiping out most of eastern and southern United States in minutes and all. And so like you got President Kennedy and his supervisors, one of which played by Costner, who tries to come up with a plan pretty much against action against the Soviets and all. And you also got Bruce Greenwood did a great job at playing JFK. And the film was also directed by Roger Donaldson. He did a great job at directing. And you also had Stephen Cook did a great job at playing Robert F. Kennedy. Yeah, 13 Days is a pretty interesting look of history, and actually, this is not the first movie that's John F. Kennedy related that Kevin Costner starred in, by the way. So I found that pretty cool that he's in not one but 2 movies that stars on JFK. I'll get you that one here in a bit. But yeah, 13 Days is a pretty interesting like history film, and crazy that this stuff actually happened. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen 13 Days, it's pretty decent. All right, coming in at number 5 is going to The Bodyguard. Now, Kevin Costner, of course, plays a bodyguard who's assigned to pretty much assigned to keep the singer played by Whitney Houston safe and all. But those two end up falling in love throughout, and they become smitten with each other. And The Bodyguard it's a great one. I mean, Whitney Houston, of course, sang the iconic song "I Will Always Love You," and her chemistry with Kevin Costner is really great. I mean, yeah, I really quite enjoy The Bodyguard. I mean, It's such like an iconic film. It's a great romance film. And yeah, I mean, the ending will also leave you hanging. Like there are some intent. Like the movie, I believe the movie was PG-13, and there are some really harsh, intense moments in this. And yeah, it's a really interesting film, and it was Whitney Houston's like first major film because she was of course like big with music around the time of this film was released, and her song "I Will Always Love You" is just such an iconic song because of the Bodyguard, and that poster is really iconic. Not to mention, so yeah, if you guys never really checked out the Bodyguard yet, I'll say give this one a go. I think you'll enjoy it. All right. Speaking of JFK, by the way, number 4 is going to be another Kevin Costner movie that's about JFK, and that's going to JFK, directed by Oliver Stone. And this is pretty much where like a district attorney named Jim Garrison, played by Kevin Costner, who's pretty much trying to investigate of why Lee Harvey Oswald, played by Gary Oldman, did what he did, and try to think there's a conspiracy behind JFK's assassination. The cast of this is like stacked. Like the people in this includes Donna Sutherland, Joe Pesci was in this. I believe Kevin Bacon was also in this too, if I'm not mistaken. Ronnie Dangerfield was even in this. Oh wait, yeah, I think Dangerfield was in this too. I gotta double check that. It's been a while since I've seen JFK, so. Oh, not to mention John Candy was in this movie. I mean, it had a really cool cast, and it's a really cool like cover-up story. I mean, it's Oliver. I mean, Oliver Stone did. I mean, he's great with these like historical films, and yeah, I mean, Kevin Costner, of course, gave a good performance. Gary Oldman as Lee Harvey Oswald was just magnificent. I mean, yeah, definitely go check out JFK if you guys never seen that. All right, coming in at number 3 is my number 3 pick is going to The Untouchables. Now, this pretty much is like The Untouchables is pretty much like a account of a battle between gangster Al Capone and lawman Elliot Ness. And Elliot is, of course, played by Kevin Costner, while Robert De Niro plays Al Capone. You also had Sean Connery in this. I mean, you also had Andy Garcia. I mean, it's a really interesting film. Directed by the great Brian De Palma, who did a great job at directing this film. It's a great crime film, a great mafia film. And the battle between Robert De Niro's Al Capone and Kevin Costner's Elliot Ness was pretty cool there. This has a great shootout scene. I mean, The Untouchables is just such an iconic film. And yeah, if you guys ever seen The Untouchables till by now, you're missing out because it's a really decent one. And Robert De Niro as Al Capone, that was perfect casting. I really thought Robert De Niro shined as Al Capone. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen The Untouchables yet, go check it out. It's such a classic. And it's also based on a TV show, not to mention. And it got released in 1987, and it's a really decent one. Alright, coming in at number 2, it's going to be another sport movie from Kevin Costner, and that's going to be Bull Durham. Now, Bull Durham is pretty much like a sport romance film where this minor league named Crash Davis, played by Costner, is pretty much assigned to the Durham Bulls, and there he ends up tutoring a young dimwit pitching prodigy named Duke Luce, played by Tim Robbins, and he's trying to teach him the way of baseball life and love. And they both end up like striking a romance with this woman named Anne, played by Susan Sarandon, who's like the team mascot, who pretty much takes it upon herself. She like sleep pretty much with every new player each season, and so Crash and Nuke, pretty much try to team like compete with one another to win her heart, and Susan Sarandon was really great. And of course, I mean, she actually ended up marrying Tim Robbins in real life. Kevin Costner was like his chemistry with Susan Sarandon was terrific. I mean, it was directed by Ron. I think that director's name again, Ron something. Yeah, Ron Shelton. Why did I freeze up on Ron Shelton's name? Anyway, yeah, Ron Shelton directed this film. I mean, it's kind of like Jerry Maguire in a way. It's a movie that mixes romance and sports with one another, and they did a great job with this. I mean, you know, this movie is pretty much something for everyone. It's a sports movie for the manly people who love sport films, and it's a romance film for the females who love romance films. So there's a little something for everyone in this, and it's a really good, cute, charming little film. Got released in 1988. Yeah, if you guys never seen Bull Durham, go check it out. It's a really good one. Alright, my number one favorite Kevin Costner movie of all time is not Dances with Wolves, by the way, or Robin Hood Man in Tights. I think Kevin Costner's best work of all time is pretty much going to Field of Dreams. I mean, in Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner, of course, plays like a Hawaii farmer named Ray Kinsella, who pretty much like hears like a voice in his cornfield that tells him, if you build it, he will come. And so he pretty much sees like the ghosts of shoeless Joe Jackson and others like Chicago White Sox players who were pretty much banned from the game for throwing the 1919 World Series and all. And it's definitely one of the best baseball movies there is. I mean, not so long ago, I did my top 10 favorite baseball movies, and Field of Dreams was in that list. It's a really terrific movie. It's a really good fantasy film. I mean, you've got James Earl Jones in this, for crying out loud. Amy Madigan was in this. Such a really interesting film. It's really lighthearted. And, great performances by Kevin Costner, by James Earl Jones. And, I mean, Kevin Costner, that guy is pretty big with sport movies. Like, even The Art of Racing in the Rain, like, even though he's not playing any sports or anything in that, he's still a dog. He's pretty much still a dog in a sport movie. And, like, I mean, the guy pretty much tries to, like, end up building a baseball diamond on pretty much his land. So, how cool is that there? I mean, a film where someone builds a baseball court on your, on your land, how cool is that? This also has some really, it has some really memorable moments in this. I mean, it's a classic. I mean, it's great. It's a really good American fantasy drama. It's a really good sports drama, and yeah, if you guys never seen Field of Dreams, definitely check that one out. It's a really good one. But that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. 10, Tin Cup. 9, Wet Earth. 8, The Upside of Anger. 7, No Way Out. 6, 13 Days. 5, The Bodyguard. 4, JFK. 3, The Untouchable. 2, Bull Durham. And 1, Field of Dreams. Now, there's loads of other Kevin Costner movies I probably could have added as well. Now, people will probably throw something at the screen and be like, hey, where's Dances with Wolves? I was never big with Dances with Wolves. I mean, how did that movie win over Goodfellas? I cannot really forgive that movie for winning the Oscars over Goodfellas, to be honest. Yeah. So yeah, I still have a bit of a grudge on Dances with Wolves. So yeah, of course he played Clark Kent's dad in Man of Steel, and it was pretty cool seeing him pop up in Batman vs Superman. By the way, of course, he was in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, what the classic Waterworld, which is so terrible. Three to Kill. I mean, like Kevin Costner has done some really cool stuff, like the aforementioned Black and White. He did Draft Day. Open Range, The Postman, The Guardian, definitely Not Criminal, that's terrible, McFarlane USA, Silverado, Hidden Figures, For Love of the Game, Dragonfly, Message in a Bottle, some interesting stuff, like Kevin Costner's, he's the man, like who just doesn't love Kevin Costner? But let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite Kevin Costner movies? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is C Movies signing.